Dudes to Dads is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We are back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads.
Dudes to Dads.
And we have a very, very informative, I usually say interesting, we have a very informative episode tonight. Are you ready for it?
I am ready.
First of all, how was your week?
Great.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the stuff I'm going to listen to right now, because you kind of hinted to it earlier.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It is good stuff.
I'm really curious about what this thing is.
So it is very informational. So there is this thing, when you have a baby...
Mm-hmm. Some stuff's got to come out.
Okay, I'm relating this to sleep.
Okay.
It's all related to sleep.
Okay.
So when you have a baby, your primary focus about sleep is to get that baby to sleep through the night.
Okay.
You're not trying to just get them to bed. In most cases, it's like, I mean, sometimes yes, you're trying to get them, but your focus and your energy is about trying to get them to sleep long.
Yeah, because I hear that from almost everyone who's
because
a
you
new
get
dad.
tired.
Hey, they slept for 6 hours.
Right. No, it's a big. It's like a big. Everyone's asking, are they sleeping through the night? How's it going with the sleep? You know, it's like it's the same thing when you're pregnant, and you know they're saying, well, you're certainly not going to sleep anymore. You know, everyone's very supportive that way. So it's about getting the baby through the night.
Right.
When you have a toddler, and they grow up, you know, they get a little bit older. They like to come out of their room. They need 400 stuffed animals.
Sure.
They need their bed to be perfect. It's the get the F to sleep.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of that. Yeah.
To sleep.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. It's like any excuse to come out and whatever. So if you haven't figured out by now, what we're talking about is more on the children's side.
Yeah.
So after toddlerhood.
Toddlerhood is a new word.
Another one. I told you I need a wall of fame
Exactly.
with my words. This is how to make bedtime easier using brain science.
Okay, brain science.
Brain science. So this is a study or studies that were done, and actually things that happen with the brain, and utilizing those things in order to make bedtime easier.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, I don't know, things that people figured out just randomly. This is actual based on research.
Sure.
Which men seem to like.
Yes, we need facts and figures.
It's not just how I felt about it.
No.
It's actually...
I want data.
This is data. So, yeah. So for young children, after toddlerhoodism... That's a good
Toddlerhoodism.
Hoodism. After toddler hoodlums, they seem to delay the process as long as possible. Now, I'm speaking from some experience. Now,
Okay, right.
My wonderful, beautiful, lovely children have a tendency to just not really want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They miss out with that.
Yeah, it's FOMO. It's
FOMO.
the fear of missing out. Like, there's always something exciting going on. So I had to figure out how to improve this process. This was another self-fulfilling thing to do. So I found some tips. There is this woman, Katherine Eskovitz. Mm-hmm. She wrote an article, really, really good. And so I'm going, and I'll post the link on our website.
Does she have a strange title like the last time?
I don't think so. She's a parenting expert.
Okay.
She does some other things.
That's
but
good enough. Yeah.
She studied some of these, some of the research papers and stuff. So listen to this though. Too little of sleep causes serious problems for children. Mm-hmm. Okay. Studies suggest that every 15 minutes less sleep for high schoolers, I mean, we're not even talking about younger children, means a drop of 1 letter grade.
What?
This is it's crazy. This
the whole letter grade?
Yeah. Lack of sleep contributes to bad moods, sickness, depression, and even obesity. So the patterns that they develop as far as poor sleep, as they get older, it makes it even worse. Wow. So this is why we're talking about this, of how important it is to develop good sleep patterns, good sleep habits, and how to make sure that you can do that. So here's some of the tips, and this is based on some of the brain science.
Okay.
So first, and this is very true for us as well, because I do this in the mornings, create a nighttime routine.
Yes.
and also do it together. That's another thing. So the children, whether, for us, it's like eat, bath or shower, pajamas, brush teeth, read, sleep, You help, or you let them help plan it.
Right.
So you're actually saying, hey, so what do we do after this? What should we do this before that? And kind of getting them invested in it.
Mm.
That gives them some control. They feel like they're a little bit in control over that. They didn't say this, but this is how I roll, is you can make a chart or pictures or, depending on their age, or an agenda, whatever you call it, of time. We did that for our mornings. It's like they don't have to look at that anymore. Right. I just have to yell 20 times. And just kidding.
Read the chart.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about this
Exactly.
468 times?
Every business meeting we have.
Right. Family meeting. So just create a nighttime routine and do it together. That's very important. The second thing, if they can write, or they can do pictures, but you start a night journal, a good night journal.
Mm.
So basically, they've proven this, that it's a great way to clear the brain and potentially reduce nightmares because of their thought process. So it slows them down.
So actually writing things down?
Writing things down.
Oh, like having a diary at the
Yes.
end of the day?
So you actually say, hey, what kind of things happened today? What was good? And we could probably focus on the positive. But what kind of things happened today? And, what do I want to do tomorrow? And it has a tendency to help slow them down.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing that you got to be careful of, is that this time of night, things can be very fast.
Sure.
Especially if it's after dinner, they've got energy. You want to kind of help slow this down, and that's what a bath, when the child's younger, helps do. You take a warm bath and it helps slow them down.
Decompress them a bit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what dreams are, is day residue, they call it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's leftover.
So didn't you study some of that stuff?
Yeah, I was a psych major in college. But that's a combination of subconscious and day residue. Yeah.
Right. So if you can release some of that, that's going to help.
That makes sense.
So see, I just confirmed it.
Yeah, there you go. Because
which would have sucked if you came back and you're like, Jason, that has nothing.
Total
to do with
garbage.
Yeah. So it helps make sense of our experiences. It also helps with control a little bit. So they have a little bit more control.
Yeah.
Third thing, and totally agree with this one, dim the lights as you get ready for bed. You sort of dim the lights, and also stay away from electronics. So I had just actually heard this for adults. Melatonin, which helps you sleep, and people obviously then take melatonin in addition, using your screen or watching TV reduces the melatonin in your body. And that converts it to something else. I'm not a nutritionist, but basically what happens is there are people then who take melatonin or just naturally have it in their body.
Yeah.
But they use their screen or they watch TV before going to bed, and they think that actually helps them. It's actually hindering them.
Oh,
it actually reduces the melatonin that's allowing you to then sleep.
Huh.
So same thing for children, saying at least 60 minutes before bedtime, no TV, computer, whatever it is, handheld device.
I have to take that advice because I tend to watch TV before I go to sleep. I'll do stuff and then.
If you don't have any issues sleeping, it's probably not a big deal.
Yeah.
But for people who do have an issue, maybe they have trouble sleeping through the night or whatever, stop. Try not to watch TV right before you go to bed.
It probably makes sense for people like you and I who are on our screens all day.
Yeah.
To kind of have that moment where, hey, we're not looking at anything.
Yeah, I've got plenty of issues, but sleep is not one of them. I've been gifted with the blessing of sleep and the
my
ability
father
to
tells
sleep.
me that I can sleep on a clothesline.
Yeah.
Just fall. If I need to take a nap, I can.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll have trouble going to sleep, but once I'm asleep, I'm all right, and then I'll wake up early.
Yeah,
I don't need a lot of sleep, but I can go to sleep.
Very rarely, I have to knock on some wood, very rarely do I have difficulty sleeping. Even if I'm upset, I can sleep. If I'm happy, I can sleep. That's not the area that affects me. As I said, I've got plenty of other stuff. Sleep isn't one of them.
Right.
And so so that's something too. For adults, if you're having trouble sleeping, think about that. Just the same thing where this nighttime routine could help.
Sure.
You want to be quiet down. And if our minds are racing, how many people whose minds race are sitting there looking at their phone right before they go to bed?
Yeah.
Whether it's browsing the web, responding to work email, whatever.
Yeah.
Stay away from that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can actually fall asleep with the screen in my hand. It doesn't matter, like, it just doesn't affect. With the TV on. And, yeah.
No, I can fall asleep with the TV on, for sure.
I think part of it's getting up really early, and then just being crashed by the end of the day. It's like you do enough stuff, and just what happens.
Yeah.
So dim the lights as well. That helps and sort of gets the environment ready. Number 4, play a short bedtime game. So the author here talked about one called, this was cool, 2 Truths, 1 Fake. So you talk about their day, and they're going to tell you 2 stories that are real and 1 that's fake, and you have to guess it. So you you could do a story, you could do whatever. But it kind of expands your mind. I think it's very similar in the Good Night Journal, where it kind of calms you. It gets you, rid of some of the mind chatter, and allows you to focus. And so that's something that you can do with a child. They didn't talk about reading, but I think you can kind of probably do that too. I mean, for a lot of people, reading makes them tired.
Sure.
I don't know if you could substitute it there. They didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
Number 5, listen to a good night talk or make your own. So this is a great one for adults as well, is like guided meditation.
Yeah.
I've used that at night, and it just, talking about the deepest sleep I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're out and just gone.
Maybe explain what guided meditation is.
So normal meditation in general is, there's tons of different kinds.
Right.
But like, let's say the kind that I'm doing, it's quiet of the mind, and so you can either picture something, you can do a chant over and over. There's all kinds of different ones to do. Typically it is self-guided, meaning there's nobody talking, there's nobody doing anything. It's your mind and you thinking about it. Guided meditation is instruction. Mm-hmm. So somebody might say, you have your eyes closed and you're saying, now feel your left arm and feel a pulse in your arm, or picture yourself in a certain environment. And it's just sitting there talking you through, so that your mind. And sometimes that's a lot easier for people.
Sure.
Because it's like an instructor, and you're guided through that process. When I first did meditation, it was guided, actually. The guy who was leading it would tell us what to do as we were doing. So he's like, okay, now picture waterfall going from your head to your, like you'd sit there and you'd realize, and then eventually you kind of can do that yourself.
Yeah.
You can kind of guide yourself in a sense. So guided talk, it doesn't have to be, quote, meditation, but guided talk of some form to help them relax. So there's a lot of free apps and stuff. I use an app that does it for me. I've used those before, and basically can walk them through relaxation, and just saying, okay, now think of this, and now do this, now breathe, and breathe 4 times,
sure,
whatever it is. And so for kids that might be a lot more helpful. The other is they can actually make their own story, their own good night. And so one of the examples they gave was a child, she was like 5, she relived and talked about a scary moment for her. So
really?
Yeah, it was something like a roller coaster that she was scared of.
Okay.
And what it did is it got the negative feelings out. Mm-hmm. So she was like, whatever, it reduces the nightmares and made her feel better.
Yeah.
So I think it's that same exact thing you're talking about. It's like, for kids that might have difficulty sleeping, they might be scared of something, they might feel uncomfortable, and that's what all of this is about. It's about creating an environment where you are calm, you feel at ease, and you feel like your mind's not racing, and there's also nothing chasing you.
Yeah.
So, which is the next one, number 6, change scary thoughts into silly thoughts.
Yeah.
So that's a funny one where, and I remember in my meetup, one of the dads was talking about this because he was really good at this. Is his son had some fears, and he was worried about people coming into his room or monsters coming into his room.
Right.
So he brought a water bottle and put it next to his bed, like a squirt bottle. And he's like, if they just come in, all you do is spray them with water, and they're gone. Anybody who comes into this room, and the kid was like, oh. So he had a water bottle next to his bed.
And a wet dad.
Yeah, which would, totally deter anybody coming in. I think it was like a specific monster or something like that. He's like, no, they don't like water, so you just spray them and they're done. And that helped him.
That's funny.
But maybe, if it's like a monster or something, maybe the monster has polka dots or stripes, or, and you turn the story around so that they can visualize something funny.
You got to think about the genius of Sesame Street in that regard, because there's the
Monsters.
monster,
Right.
and Grover's a monster.
Yeah.
There's monsters in there, and they make
friendly.
it cute and lovable and friendly.
Yep.
So like it's like, oh, instead of bad monster, he's a good monster.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
Well, there's a lot of stories too. There's a great, we talked about this too, was a story called Tickle Monster. And, same thing. It's just like he loved being tickled and loved tickling people. And yeah, there's a lot of that because, as kids, they're always scared of monsters.
Sure.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
There's so many movies and books about it and everything else. So, yeah, no, that's cool. Number 7, remember to hug a favorite stuffed animal. This for sure worked with my kids and still does. It's like, when they're a little bit younger, they have a tendency to need 500 stuffed animals on the bed, and they have to be in precision. There's certain places where they all have to be set. But hugging a stuffed animal, it's kind of probably the graduation from a blanket.
Yeah.
That keeps them safe and makes them feel better.
Sure.
And so that can help reduce some nightmare fears and keep them calm, and that's okay. I mean, some people, I remember they were listening to the radio and they're talking about adults who still sleep with something.
Yeah, I've seen adults with that.
They still got something they have to travel with it.
Yeah.
To each his own, if it works. And then number 8, follow the same plan with the same bedtime each night.
So
keep it consistent. Yeah. Very, very consistent. It's not just the number of hours, but it's also that consistency that helps develop their brains. So they like repetition and steadiness. And they said a recent study showed that children with non-regular bedtimes had more behavioral problems. Children that went from non-regular to regular bedtimes, their behavior improved. So they associated with that as well. And you can tell when you have kids that you can feel and sense when they're overtired. They haven't gotten enough sleep. You just can see it.
Yeah.
You know it.
They get antsy and restless.
Which so do we.
Yeah, I know. No, she's funny. She's going to kill me for telling this story here.
But don't.
But no, I'm going to anyway. But it was a friend of mine. It wasn't even I was dating. It was somebody. It was just a friend. But I could tell was very sleepy. But she didn't want to admit it, and she kept kind of bugging me. And I was trying to kind of take a nap, and I was like, what we'll do? Just be quiet for just 5 minutes. Just silent for 5 minutes.
She fell asleep.
And she hated me for she didn't really hate me, but she was like, I'm so mad at you that you knew I was sleeping before I did.
Yeah, no, you're crabby. It's like being hungry.
Yeah.
It's like for some people it just doesn't work. You just can't function.
You get all weird about it. It's funny. You try to stay awake.
Tired and hungry.
Yeah.
So those are the tips that they offered. Now I have some overall tips that I want to offer just because they helped us and they helped me, and they still do. The first one is an early bedtime. So this worked really well for us at our house, and the reason being is because I always felt like our kids weren't getting enough sleep, like they could never get enough, So when our children were really young, when we first started out, it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock, literally when they were babies and then toddlers, and it because they seem to get up around the same time no matter what, and especially because we're early risers, so I'm sure it's noisy or we try to keep them. I remember because we have a garage door, and our children have their bedrooms above the garage door. And so it was like I couldn't go to the gym in the morning. I had to park outside. We had all kinds of stuff. We didn't want to wake the baby, And so, but bedtime-wise, we just really tried to get them to sleep. And it was for a couple reasons. Some of it was selfish and self-serving. It's like, okay, now we have our own time. If we go to sleep early anyways, or we did, that's some extra time that we have to spend as adults.
Yeah.
Just having conversation, or eating dinner or whatever. So an earlier bedtime, and as they get a little bit older, still trying to keep it a little bit earlier. I can tell you, with the neighbors and all that, our kids probably have one of the earliest bedtimes in relation to others. Whether that's good, bad, whatever, it's just, I feel like they get good sleep, but they also don't sleep as long. So there are plenty of other children that will go to sleep later and then they sleep in.
Right.
Our children just never slept in, so it's not an option. It'd be great if they slept in, but even on the weekends they get up early. It's just it just doesn't work. So
right.
So I think for many maybe that earlier bedtime, and that's hard to do. You have to plan it. You've got to make the regimen, and especially when they're a baby, the feeding times and everything else. You got to coordinate that.
Sure.
So that works. And then the other is just overall creating a good sleeping environment. What my kids will call often is cozy. They'll say that
Makes
word.
sense, yeah.
Like, they've just showered, they are in their pajamas, they're comfortable, they've got soft pillow, soft bed, and the temperature's good.
Yep.
Like, they're not hot, they're not cold, because we have both heater and fan, just make sure that they're okay. And I see that for sure when they are hot, they do not sleep well.
Right, yeah.
And we don't either.
No, I think that's the case for most people. It's like when it's too hot or uncomfortable, and who doesn't feel good after like a great shower?
Yeah.
And then you just go and get ready to bed.
Yeah, and for many, also too, it being dark, it's the same thing with turning off the lights.
Yeah.
So making sure that it's dark. For some kids, they like to have the door open and a hall light or something like that. That's fine, or a night light. But those are some things that had helped for us. It's just making sure that environment is good and making sure they go to bed early.
Yeah.
Wasn't on brain science. It wasn't based on any sort of science. It was based on trial and error.
Right.
And just
You didn't throw data into your studies?
we just read a ton, and then it was funny when I was compiling this. I was thinking about an episode about getting your baby to sleep, and because I was trying to recall a lot of that.
Right.
And I remember how difficult that is.
Yeah.
That we probably should do an episode on it. It was like reliving it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it is something that is really, really hard. And but it's needed. It's one of the most searched stuff.
Of
for
course.
babies,
Yeah.
for sure.
You probably have PTSD from that. It's just like,
Oh, I recall some very, very difficult nights.
Yeah.
And you just, because, then you're taught, well, don't go in, leave him, let him cry, and it's like an hour later, our son just did not comply with all of the types of, techniques.
yeah.
They're like, leave him for 5 minutes and go in and touch him, the Ferber method and all these things. My son just did not comply with that. And I'm a rule follower. Like, you tell me exactly what to do, I'm doing it. I didn't change the plan.
Right.
And they said some kids just won't do it. He just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And we were so much more lax, if you will, or relaxed with my daughter. She, slept near us in the bed or near the bed, and just it was a much different experience.
Right.
And so that's a whole other.
Yeah.
But love to hear your feedback for maybe things that work for you guys. Things that work at bedtime. If you have young children, maybe some tips and tricks, we could post them. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Where would they?
Podcast at dudesdads.com, or you can tweet us at podcast.
Twitter us?
I'm sorry, at dudesdads. Yeah, Twitter us. How do you call it? Is it tweet us?
Tweet us.
You tweet us, right?
I think you.
Yeah.
You're the internet marketer.
I know. I don't know why I don't know these terminology. I'm like, I do internet marketing for a living.
Yeah.
And then Facebook, dudesdads.com, and then of course the best thing you can do is go to iTunes or Stitcher. Leave a review, usually 5 stars would be helpful. Subscribe, the YouTube channel as well.
Subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe, it really helps the following, it really gets that the users and more people discovering what we're doing here. So, and of course, just sharing it would be good.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends, neighbors, whatever, who you think needs it, who you think doesn't need it.
Even women.
Even women.
Even women.
Even
This show is not just for dads anymore.
No, it's for everybody.
It's amazing how many
From the dad's perspective.
Yeah, how many women are like, I just want to find out what was going on. Like a fly on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. What did dads talk about?
Yeah, so
That's
that's
tell
cool.
you everything.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Alan. Another great week.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next time.
See you next week.